Good evening, everybody. A tremendous Wednesday to all of you here on September the 4th in the year of our Lord 2024. Can you believe it? It is time again, boys, for Frank Addington's NFL Fearless Forecast predictions. I'm going to run through all 32 teams. I'm going to give you the standings. I'm going to give you all the records. I'm going to give you the seedings. I'm going to give you every single playoff game, not the scores, only the score of the Super Bowl. But I will give you accurate playoff game breakdowns of what is going to happen. I'm excited for this. I hope you are too. And I believe, and I hope you can hear me today, because it's rolling Rio today. We got some rapids going on here today, boys, in a new spot. This is the 3rd annual Rio predictions video. Whiteboard series, what the hell is that? All right, I tell you what, one reason I'm really excited about this is because I've never done these predictions and been so confident about these picks. I received visions about these picks. Well, at the pool, throughout the summer, kind of through August, thinking about this a little bit at a time, doing some studying. I had some picks and scratched out some predictions early, but started thinking, I switched some things around, and then it all came to me all of a sudden. So here we go, boys. Here we go. The 2024 NFL season. Free Jack Balls has done his picks by now. Hopefully Gideon has done his picks by now. Gabiero did his picks last week. You guys put a lot of thought into it, and I just want to say I appreciate the effort. You're watching the premiere Frank Addington video. And right now Duck is saying, Peter, just get to the point. Get to the picks. Be patient. Normally we start in the AFC, we go with the AFC East. This time we're going to start the AFC and go with the AFC East. Alright, so we're going to do first to worst. In the American Football Conference East this year, I've got in first place the Cobras Buffalo Bills, going 13-4 this year. All right, so the Bills are the easiest 2023 division winner to slide on, since they are now sitting on a string of consecutive playoff gag jobs. The change to Joe Brady at offensive coordinator last year paid off immediately. And Josh Allen is always consistent in the regular season. Now, linebacker Milano was the biggest injury loss on defense, but that allowed second-year man Bernard to come in and shine. So it was a little bit of a silver lining there when Milano went down, and he'll be back this year, so that's good for the defense. McDermott is not a good head coach, but he's good with the defense. So those two linebackers project to be a solid duo this year, if not a very good duo. Got a helicopter coming over Rio today. We also have a fly fisherman. You can see in the background. Can you see the fly fisherman up there, guys? There he is. The Buffalo Bills, they lost some defense to free agency this year, but they returned their sack leader, Ed Oliver, which is big. It's a tough slate this year, the schedule, I mean, but Buffalo pulls off their 5th straight division title. 13-4 division champions. This is phone overheat prevention day, boys. It's hopefully going to stay cloudy, and I've got the ice water bottle, the phone resting against it, so we're going to try to make it all the way through. All right? Second place, In second place, I have the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins at 9-8. So there are concerns about the interior blocking with the Dolphins, which they will need to keep that dynamic running game near the top of the league. The defensive front seven was so banged up by January last year that they were barely a functional defense in that wild card game against Kansas City. Now, Miami is a team that should pile up some early wins like last year, especially in those hot Miami home games. And, they could paper tiger their way to another wild card spot. All right, so Dolphins second place. Third place, I got a team that is cheered on by DPCX, Fast Furious, B. Miler Man, and Mr. Met. The New York Football Jets, and I got them in third place. I got them at 8 and 9. Watching a 60-minute Jets game in late December last year was an eye-opener to just how overrated the Jets defense is, including Gardner. Another overrated player is Breece Hall. This is a guy that NY Man talks about being so great. But he has only 9 touchdowns in his 2 seasons, and he's never rushed for 1,000 yards. So I have no idea why this guy gets so much hype. I wasn't high on how effective Rodgers would be before last season, and now, as he turns 41 during the season, I'm not buying it this year either, boys. That and the mediocre head coach Saleh is on the hot seat. All right, last place. Everyone's got the Patriots last place, including myself. I've got them at 4 and 13. Not a lot of roster turnover, which means the defenses should keep them in enough games to look competitive. How do you like that read? But this still smells of a rebuilding, which begins with Drake May, who should start by week 5. They just announced that Brissett would be the, as Dewey said, the Packers were like, we need to get Brissett from Colts. They just announced that Brissett will be the starting quarterback in week 1. They have 4 difficult games to start the year. I think 3 of them are on the road. After that stretch, they're going to probably ease it back to May for a home game in week 5 against an easier team. All right, so May could blossom into one of the better quarterbacks in a few years from now, but it will be a rocky ride for the 21-year-old in his first year. But I do see Brissett helping to pave the way to the future. The entire offense is brutally weak at every position, and the kicker and the punter, which are both needed to be good for a defensive-oriented team, they were dreadful in 2023, and they haven't improved much for 2024. That's the AFC East. Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and the Patsies. We're going to move on to the AFC North. In first place this year, I have Cincinnati Bengals winning the division with an 11-6 record. This is a hell of a division. I got Cincinnati has slowly put together a good offensive line with young players following its woes of 2021, their Super Bowl year. I'm worried about Hendrickson and his 17.5 sacks now gone. And also the lack of pass rush elsewhere will put pressure on the shaky secondary. But most of all, I'm starting to look at Burrow no longer as Joe Cool, but as Glass Joe. I think this year he will be Joe Cool. I think it will be a good year for him. They have an underrated defense and some star players. They're not going to miss Mixon that much in the running game, and they're going to power their way to. They have a great kicker, help them win some close games, and McPherson. They're going to pull out the division this year somehow. In second place, also at 11-6, I have the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be a squeaker for the division. The Ravens finished 11-6 in second place. Now here's a team that really choked last year. They should be in the postseason this year, but they won't get another look like they did last January. On their home turf, 60 minutes from pay dirt, from getting to the Super Bowl. That was a mighty, mighty gag job that everyone saw coming, and it'll be tough to make amends for it this year and make up for that. In third place, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, finishing for the first time in Mike Tomlin's career. He's going to have a losing record. They're going to be 8-9. This is a sleeper team for some people, and it's fascinating that they got into the postseason at all last year. But now TJ Watt is back. An NC State rookie, Peyton Wilson, is a born Steeler. He's a sideline-to-sideline motor who will be great for years for this team, I believe. All right, he played for the only clean program in the country in NC State, Aces Wolfpack. So you can count on him. Pittsburgh is very thin at receiver, very thin at offensive line. They're at a similar position as Cleveland at quarterback, maybe worse. All right. The best outcome would be that Fields realizes his potential, because Russell Wilson is not the answer. Last year, I was believing in Wilson with the Broncos, but that was kind of his last chance to show that he had something left. He looked like he was just pretty much on the decline. I don't think he's going to do anything this year, and neither is Fields. I don't get the whole thing with Justin Fields. He showed a little bit, but by now he should have come around. I don't think either of these guys, I think they're just kind of both Band-Aids for now. It seems like the Steelers are kind of hunting on the quarterback situation this year after a failed Pickett experiment. They're just going to kind of wait it out and see what happens in the offseason. They'll probably scrap together enough wins late to be in the playoff hunt, but this time they're going to fall short of a playoff appearance. Come on, Clouds. We don't need an overheat today. Fourth place, I got Johnny's Browns. JHL. 5-11. I got them 5-11. The strength of Cleveland's beloved Browns is the defense, and they are all about the pass rush. Garrett and Smith were stellar performers last year, and the Browns have nice run stoppers up the middle. The secondary boasts, of course, All-Pro corner Ward. Since it has been so long since Watson was a quality quarterback, it's hard to imagine him reverting back to even close to that in 2024. There's no precedent for such a thing. So I think he's going to hurt them more than help them. His health is also a concern, especially with the interception-prone Winston right behind him. Even though Winston could get dealt too, I think that the other backup, what the hell is the guy's name? The guy they got from the Ravens, Tyler Huntley, would be a better choice at backup. There are plenty of good weapons at Watson's disposal, but guys like Judy can be kind of a knucklehead sometimes. All right, that's the AFC North. Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Brownies. That's how I see it, boys. AFC South. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division. They were supposed to win the division easily last year. That didn't happen. I got them at 12-5, and Jacksonville is a good bet to bounce back this season as long as they can hold serve through the first 6 difficult games. They were the odds-on favorite to win the division last year, and people seem to have kind of forgotten about them this year. The defense added help. Peterson is still a Super Bowl caliber head coach. They signed Davis from Buffalo, drafted Thomas to bolster the wideout position, Davis and Thomas. And Lawrence is one of those QBs who his whole life has made receivers around him better. That says a lot to me. It says a lot about how they're going to do going forward into this year. Second place, I got the Houston Texans. At 10-7, everyone's darlings for this year, the sexy pick, have a lot of pressure on them to meet lofty expectations after going worst to first last year. They will surprise nobody if they win the South, and the general consensus is they will continue their ascension with a visit to the AFC title game this year. But I don't think it'll be that simple. My gut feeling is that the Texans will have a collective sophomore slump, and they will have to return in 2025 to prove that 2023 wasn't a fluke. In third place, a team that a lot of people have doing well, even winning the division, is the Dewey's Colts, 8-9. I got the Colts 8-9. Formidable secondary, a very good offensive line, especially the tackle tandems. But running back Taylor is just oft injured. I love the interior defensive line with monstrous run stuffer Grover Stewart, plus Buckner and his 8 sacks last year. One thing that concerns me is Richardson's 4-game sample size. I think it's just the main red flag here. I'm not feeling the Colts this year, guys. All right. Fourth place, the Tennessee Titans, 5-12. Tennessee begins their post-Vrabel, Tannehill, Henry era, and it will start with a tough opening 6 games. The Titans featured the worst secondary last year, but they added massive upgrades. Snead, a starter in Kansas City, and Awuzie, who was a starter as well. The lone bright spot last year for the Titans was slot cornerback McCreary, and having those 2 number 1s now with him will only be beneficial to McCreary's growth. Landry had 10.5 sacks. Key chipped in 6. So I think there will be a pretty decent defense this year. Rookie left tackle Latham, Akers, a questionable line. They put a lot of stock in him this year, which you shouldn't do with a rookie. And veterans Pollard and Hopkins as the offensive playmakers. It's a cross your fingers kind of year for Levis, and I believe they will begin to toss him aside after this season, like they did with Willis, especially if they have another top 10 draft pick looming. They'll try to take a shot at another one. All right, Dewey, you called it. You said that I would have it that way. You said I would have like Texans 1. Well, you didn't really call it. You kind of hedged. You said I'd have Texans 1, Jaguars 2, or you'd flop it. You'd flop those 2. So you didn't really call it, Dewey. Don't pat yourself on the back. AFC West. First place, winning the division, I have Kansas City Chiefs at 13-4. Now the KC defense, previously the just good enough unit of this dynasty, pulled its weight in spades last year while the offense was sputtering at times in the regular season. The re-signing of defensive end Jones gives them a tremendous mental edge while breaking. It's a backbreaker for the other Super Bowl contenders, having him back on the Chiefs. I think if he had gone somewhere else, especially in the AFC, they may have shifted things a little bit. New wide receivers Brown and Worthy are welcome additions who will be explosive downfield threats that Kansas City lacked in 2023. The schedule does present 5 AFC playoff teams, but they also face 4 extra bye weeks with the NFC South, as well as playing against the declining and rebuilding AFC West foes. Any team that knocks out Kansas City in this postseason will have to earn it. In second place, I have a team going 10-7. Are you watching this loyal in Mamba? I got the Raiders at 10-7. Second place. Raiders had a nice ending to last year, running mostly on adrenaline and the excitement of being released from Josh McDaniels. They have a game manager at quarterback, but they have plenty of playmakers on offense, including the rookie tight end Brock Bowers and Andy's Bulldogs. The defense is simply elite, okay? They are an elite defense, and Minshew has a swagger about him that the players will play for harder and that fits the culture and the identity of this Raiders team. I'm telling you, I am buying the Raiders as a playoff contender this year, boys. Third place, I got the LA Superchargers finishing at 8-9. The AFC West was hyped up big back in 2022, but now it's mostly easy pickings for Kansas City. The Chargers have their first great coach since Schottenheimer, but it will not lead to instant success due to their weak receiving corps, weak interior offensive line, weak defensive front. I like what they did in the draft, especially pairing left tackle Joe Alt with Herbert for years to come. And the fifth-year starting quarterback continues to get a pass on no playoff wins, even though he's always ranked in the top 5. It's strange, but anyway, the future looks good though. Give them even next year, they should be contending. But I think towards the end of this year, you'll see a Harbaugh kind of team start to come together. In fourth place, I got the Denver Broncos. I got the Denver Broncos at 3-14. QB Bo Nix is your starter at quarterback. He's ready to go, but his supporting cast is really bad. Denver will need to rely on the running game, but the running game's also weak. The Bronco defense is no longer reliable. So for Sean Payton haters, this will be a good year for you. All right, we're going to move on to the National Football Conference before I get to the playoff picks. So that's Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos in order. All right. The division winners are Buffalo, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, and Kansas City. Who are the wild cards, Peters? Well, we got to keep watching the video. That's how you do it, free jack balls. You also give something to the. You also give something for the lady viewers here. It takes experience, free jack. You got to do it. You got to just get some games under your belt. All right. National Football Conference. Emmy, what's up? Dylan Princess, what's up? Corey Thaggood. It's almost time for your team predictions. Corey Thaggood, my girl. All right. The NFC East. Fly fisherman's gone. All right, NFC East, boys. I have a feeling it's going to be a good NFL season. NFC East, first place, finishing at 12-5. Where are you, Eagles 52? This is your year, Eagles 52. The Eagles are winning the NFC East. One reason the Eagles crashed and burned after a 10-1 start was the horrible secondary play. Philadelphia opened my eyes in April. Remember that draft party? Wasn't that fun? The draft party? A 3-day blitzkrieg fest of picks. Philadelphia opened my eyes in that draft by drafting top-notch cornerbacks Mitchell and Dijon, is that how you say his name? Two top-notch cornerbacks. They also signed the speedy linebacker, Devin White. The pass rush is already one of the NFL's best. Oh, and they ripped running back Barkley away from Gideon's Giants. Yikes. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio will transform the defense and have the Eagles back to being an imposing threat to dethrone San Francisco as NFC champions. They'll be right there. Second place. Free jack balls. Big Rich. Big Rich not high on his Cowboys this year. Corey Thaggood. I got the Cowboys in second place at 11-6. Dallas returns 3 starters to the offensive line and spent a first rounder on one, Guyton, to fill a tackle void left by Tyron Smith. It's not the unit it once was, but it's still good enough to provide Prescott with the necessary protection. The good receiving group is back, with the Cowboys signing CD. General, you need to get some CDs, some R&B. Yeah, word Rio, yeah. So they have some good receivers, but the Cowboys will need someone to rise up and surprise out of the backfield, and I mean that sincerely. Already blessed with players who can hit the quarterback, Dallas has Diggs returning in the secondary. That's big. Can this team finally make a playoff run? Third place, I have the New York Football Giants at 5-12. Not a good season. The NFC East basically has 2 separate divisions. This is the lower half. You could certainly do worse than Daniel Jones as far as an incumbent, hot seat starting quarterback. LSU's Neighbors is now here as a potentially a star for Jones to fling it to. I think he's going to be a star. The defensive line is fantastic enough to build around and cover the cornerback deficiencies while doing so. But the Giants aren't anywhere good enough to compete for a wild card. Not even near good enough. Gideon says they could be, 10-7 if things break the right way. No. Fourth place, I gave you the game-by-game predictions of this team last week. The Washington Commanders, I got them at 3-14. It's the dawn of a new era here. Ron Rivera's layering of terrible drafts will take a lot of time to remove, replace, overhaul. So don't look for anything magical this year. The secondary is one of the worst in the NFL, and the front office didn't do enough this year to improve an offensive line that has Sam Howell still waking up in cold sweats. Drafting a quarterback first was the right move, but if he absorbs the hits in the open field that he did in college, he's going to be RG4. Washington should be in a position to trade back for more capital with their high first rounder in 2025. All right, let's go to the National Football Conference North. We got the first place. This is the division that is generally thought of as the best in the NFL. I agree. First place, I got the Detroit Lions at 13-4. There's no reason to believe that Detroit will regress. Goff enjoys some of the best blocking in football, with 2 Pro Bowl caliber tackles leading the charge, and he has a terrific supporting cast around him. It's simply a difficult offense to stop for almost every team in the NFL. The front office addressed the defense's liability in stopping the pass by taking Terrion Arnold in round 1. Terrion. And Rakestraw in round 2. Great picks. One, if not both, will thrive right off the bat, I believe, this year. The Lions' special teams is middle of the pack. In my opinion, Detroit is the team to beat in the NFC. In second place, finishing at 10-7, I got the where do we usually go on like Mondays? Bear Scott Stadium, Bear Scott. This is for you, Bear Scott and Jay Weed. Got the Bears second place. This is the closest thing we'll get to the 2023 Texans. I'm not a big believer in Williams for the long term, but his running game is so deep, and he has such a great blend of veterans, Allen, and young receivers, Rome Odunze, to work with. Komet at tight end is very underrated, and so is their head coach. I like Eberflus. the young defense really came together in the second half last season, and having Montez Sweat for a full year will definitely pay off for them in 2024, especially in the game where they play Washington. He'll get about 3.5 sacks in that game. Third place. I got the Packers, 9-8. Now, recency bias has a slew of forecasters not only slating Green Bay as division champs, but some even have them in the Super Bowl. Calm down. All right, you need to calm down. No offense in the National Football League had more ups and downs than the Packers last year. Yet one convincing playoff win has everyone crowning them as NFC favorites. Jekyll Love should be more consistent now, but let's see it for 17 games instead of just 7. All right? The line is banking on right tackle Zach Tom to continue to be solid.
Zach.
What was his last name? Oh, yeah.
Tom.
Oh! Is that the script? Who knew? Peters reads his picks? Oh my gosh. No, it wasn't a script. It was a Maria's Pizza menu. I promise you. They're also banking on rookie Arizona tackle Morgan to plug in seamlessly in the line. If Zaire Alexander continues to be a shutdown cornerback, it will go a long way in having the defense be a strong suit of this team. But I'm seeing growing pains overall for the Packers. But a good future. Fourth place, the Minnesota Vikings at 4-13. Unless they get out of the gate with a surprising start, Minnesota should be in tank mode this year. The defense did go from one of the worst in 2022 to being respectable last year, but it will need to be top 10 if they're going to hang around in games late with Darnold at the helm. The first 8 games are the hardest on their schedule. No Hit Nelly said that was talking about the first 5, but it's really like the first 8. It's really rough. And after that, they might just go into tank mode. But as bad as this offensive line is, they could be calling up Dobbs again by October. Let's go to the NFC South. We got two divisions left. All right. So NFC, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. NFC East, NFC North, we got Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. NFC South, we got first place. Got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 8-9, winning the division with a losing record. The Bucs were fortunate to win 9 games last year. Hang in there, Clouds. Come on. But in this year, the defense is being reworked with some issues in the secondary. Mayfield lost his offensive coordinator, Dave Canales, but he will remain a steady hand behind center. And he's a good pro who can win games. He retains his go-to wide receivers, Evans and Godwin, but both are at an age where this could be their last productive season. It's just a bad division, and Todd Bowles is going to blitz his way to 8 or 9 wins and get Tampa Bay another home playoff wildcard game, I believe. All right, second place, I got Antonio's Falcons also finishing 8-9. Atlanta had a collective effort to rush the quarterback in 2023 and should have picked Latu in round 1 so that they could create more havoc on the defense. Instead, they inexplicably took Penix after signing Cousins to a 9-figure deal. The defensive front is mediocre, and they idiotically traded up for defensive end Rook or Horhoro in the top of round 2. That made no sense either. There's also this illusion that the Falcons' offense is loaded with weapons. At this time, I call the fantasy geeks to the witness stand. Are Drake London and Kyle Pitts both underwhelming skill position players? And may I remind you that you're under oath. So far, they haven't been that good. For a team that hasn't had a winning season since 2017, there sure is a lot of buzz over the Falcons winning the division. All right, second place. I got the ace dog. I got the Panthers in third place. Like a fool, I picked Carolina to win the division last year, and they had the worst record in the NFL. There's reason for a little optimism now. However, new head coach Dave Canales worked magic with reclamation projects Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. So let's see what he can do here with Bryce Young. I think he can only improve. Carolina also spent big money to improve Young's horrible protection. That was one of the problems. Signing Hunt and Lewis. They also drafted 3 offensive weapons, Leggett in round 1, running back John Brooks out of Texas in round 2, and tight end Jadarius, I think his name, or Jadavion Sanders in round 3, also out of Texas. 3 solid weapons. The free agent loss of Brian Burns, though, will sting on defense. He went to Joseph's Giants. Like I said, there's some hope, but it's a poorly run organization. In fourth place, I got the New Orleans Saints at 4-13. I don't like the Saints. A head coach is on the hot seat. He's a bad coach. There's a mediocre quarterback, and still issues in protection even after drafting Fuaga, 14th overall. Defensively, the Saints are rated the 5th lowest in quarterback pressures. Chase Young only makes that worse, except when they face Washington this year. He'll have maybe 3 sacks in that game. The Saints have some major flaws, and it would be in their best interest to tank for Shedeur, Sanders, or Beck instead of backdooring their way into a division and losing the wild card game at home. I think this is going to be a year where they have Rattler come in, and then the coach will get fired. Then Carr and Rattler will both be dismissed in the offseason because they're part of the Allen regime. We'll start over with something else, something new. Like I said, they really need a tank for Sanders or Beck. All right, so it's Buccaneers, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. NFC West. I got the... I don't know how you can't do it, but first place, I got the Jackass Jays 49ers. In first place, 12-5. This is the most talented team, position by position, in the division, if not the conference. Anything short of an NFC West title would be because of injuries. It's a house of cards roster, though, and things will go sideways if one player, such as Samuel, is out for an extended period of time. Okay? Trent Williams, who's 36 now, has greater impact on this offense than anyone else. Does he have one more all-pro healthy season left in it? If not, they're going to have some problems. Okay? Second place, I got the... Woo, come on, Clouds, come on. We don't need an overheat. I got the Seattle Seahawks. It's 10-7. So while Seattle is not good enough to compete for the division, this is the most overlooked playoff contender in the NFL. Geno Smith, PPCX. He's a Hall of Famer. He's surrounded by 2 gifted running backs and perhaps the best wide receiver trio in the NFL. However, outside of terrific blindside protector Charles Cross, the Seahawks really do need better offensive line play. That's the big question. Rookie Byron Murphy will inject an attitude into the defense, into the defensive line and the defense. Head coach McDonald is going under the radar. I think he's going to be a fine coach. The defensive coordinator from Baltimore, He's going to maximize the defense just like he did in Baltimore, and this includes getting the best out of Witherspoon. This is going to be a fun team in 2023. In third place, I got the Cardinals at 8-9. Arizona struggled mightily defensively last season, especially against the run. The secondary has some potential. First round pick Robinson and second rounder Melton bring excitement to the corner spots They already have two solid cover safeties. Connor was inconsistent in the backfield, and the Cardinals took Florida State running back Benson in round 3. Quarterback Murray is talented, but he has injury issues, and he hasn't proven himself to be a very good team player. The Cardinals are a team that people are sleeping on a little bit overall. I think Gannon's going to be a good coach, and they're going to be better this season. So Cardinals third place. To round out the NFC West, I got the Rams in last place at 6-11. It's a shame that Aaron Donald couldn't stick around for one more year, or the Rams would have had a run at another title. Verse is an okay bottom first-round defensive end pick, and defensive tackle Fisk is just a body to fill Donald's void. He was the other pick, the other high pick. They do have some good run defenders in the secondary, though. McVay and the Rams found two new budding offensive stars, Nakua and Williams. But the fate of the NFC wildcards seemed to rest on the arm of Matthew Stafford. If injuries and advancing age plague Stafford, the door is going to be open to other teams to contend for playoff spots this year. And that's what I see happening. Their last chance at a title was last year. They could have beaten Detroit in that game, and then who knows what happens after that. I think the door's shut after that crushing playoff loss. And Stafford will be in, he'll be in and out, and the defense is going to struggle this year. I don't like the defense. So I got the Rams missing out of the playoffs. Last place. Speaking of the playoffs, are you ready? We're going to start with the AFC wildcard games. All right. So the number 1 seed, Free Jack, are you paying attention here? The number 1 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. They will have unlike last year, this time, the road to the Super Bowl goes through Arrowhead. KB Toys. The number 2 seed is the Buffalo Bills. The number 3 seed is the Jaguars. The number 4 seed is the Bengals. Those are the 4 division winners. In the wild card games, the Bills at number 2 played the 7 seed Raiders in Orchard Park. Here we go, guys. Set up perfectly for the Bills. House money for the Raiders. Absolute house money. Nothing to lose. The Raiders come out and they scare the Bills. This has got upset written all over it. However, the Bills pull it out. The Bills do what they need to do and they win this game. The fans can breathe easy for another week. But the Raiders, hell of a season. The number 3 seed, Jaguars, play at home against the number 6 seed, Houston Texans. This is one where the Texans may be favored, but the Jaguars win. So the Jaguars win this game. A little humble pie for the Texans, who have to regroup. But the Jaguars and Doug Peterson are back, and they win a home game in the wild card game. The final wild card game is the Baltimore Ravens, the 5th seed, going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. In this game, it's all about running game and pass rush, and that's all Ravens. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, both running the ball well, controlling the clock, and they beat the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. So they advance. In the NFC wildcard games, we have the number 1 seed is the Detroit Lions. They get the week off. Number 2 seed is the Eagles. They play the number 7 seed, the Chicago Bears, making the playoffs. In Caleb Williams' rookie year. Now this game, it's in Philadelphia, so it can't be a fog bowl too, boys. That's a disappointment. Eagles, Bears, remember that one? Buddy Ryan. And the Eagles in this game overwhelmed the Bears. It's not a very close game. They win by like 10 or 14 points. But a hell of a year for the Bears. Great building block, playoff appearance. The 49ers, the 3rd seed, they played the 6th seed Seattle Seahawks. This is another game that won't be very close, despite the fact that it's a division matchup. It is the Niners winning this game and advancing to the next round, to the divisional round. The last game is the Dallas Cowboys, the 5th seed, going to Tampa Bay in a rematch to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rematch of like 2 years ago. Or was it 3 years ago? Buccaneers at 8-9, hosting a playoff game. And it's the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, for now, and McCartney silence the critics for a week, getting a playoff win, even though they're slight favorites in this game, and they win the game. So it's a hell of a wild card weekend because you have 1, 2, 3, you have 3 division rivals, division rival games. Okay. All right, let's go to the AFC divisional round. All right. Do the 1 seed first. So this is an Arrowhead. It's a rematch of the AFC title game from this January 2024. It is the Ravens balling their way to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs in exact revenge for that gag job that they had at home in Baltimore. Can they do it? Absolutely not. They lose again. It's the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Ravens and advancing to a home game in the AFC Championship game. Let's go to the second game. Here we go, guys. It's the Buffalo Bills hosting Jacksonville. A Florida team has to go on the road to a freezing January environment. It's all Bills, guys. It's all Bills. They're in the lead at half. They're in the lead in the 3rd quarter. Sometime in the 4th quarter, just the thought in Josh Allen's head that in 1 week he is traveling to Arrowhead Stadium, just thinking about that while playing in the 4th quarter against the Jaguars in the divisional round playoffs, just the mere thought of that. The feces fills up, it comes out of his collar. You can see it trickling out of his collar. His face turns pale white, ghostly white. His eyes are wide open. Feces pouring out of his mouth. Blood. Urine. Saliva. He's twitching on the field at Rich Stadium, and the fans are going, yeah, I know what this is all about. Just the thought of the Chiefs. And he gags on his own balls, has a fumble, gets sacked, fumbles the ball. Jaguars defense picks it up, scoop and score. They never look back. And that asshat, Doug Peterson, wearing his silly little visor on the sidelines, his goofy little smart guy glasses. Look at me. I look like I went to Harvard. Gets the win. It's a defense. Bills gag. Allen chokes on his own nuts in the playoffs big time. Soft and shock. You're probably used to it by now, but I'm just telling you, that's what's going to happen. So we have the Jaguars and the Chiefs in the AFC title game. Let's go to the NFC. Divisional rounds. Number 1 seed Lions. EMG. Brett. This is a rematch of that 1991 game where you beat the Cowboys to advance to the NFC title game. This is also a divisional round game. All right. EM gerbil mastectomy. You're going to like this. Free Jack Balls, you're not going to like this. Cowboys go down. Kari Thaggood is heartbroken. Big Rich knew it was coming. It's over. Cowboys lose to the Lions, who just have an incredible game on both sides of the ball. They go to their second straight NFC Championship game. Huge game in the other divisional round game. This might be the primetime game. The Sunday night primetime game. The number 2 seed, just say Cowboys were 5 seed. Number 2 seed, Eagles, taking on the number 3 seed, 49ers in Philadelphia. These two met in the NFC title game 2 years ago. The Eagles won. In this game, the Eagles win again. The 49ers do not get it done. Shanahan makes another stupid decision. I don't know what. He has a dumb decision every year. Those two quarterbacks come up big. Mitchell and Dijon for the Eagles. They do a hell of a job in this game. Okay, so does that defensive line. They have the best offensive line and best defensive line combo in the NFL. They make it a long day for Mr. Purdy. All right, so we got Lions-Eagles NFC title game. Let's go to the AFC Championship. Let's do it. We got Chiefs and Jaguars. Number 1 Chiefs, number 1 seed Chiefs playing on the number 3 Jaguars. Seed Jaguars. In this game, Jaguars come to play, boys. They have some offense going, despite the good defense by the Chiefs. It is going to be the master, Andy Reid, versus the tutor, his former assistant coach, Peterson. Just like they played last year in the wild card game. Peterson's going to be studied up this time, though. He takes a lead over the Chiefs. But the Chiefs prevail. The Chiefs go to another Super Bowl. Their 5th Super Bowl appearance in the Mahomes era. Incredible. The dynasty continues. KB Toys and KC get a shot at another title here. Let's go to the NFC. NFC Championship game. It's kind of old school. It's like 1950s, Norm Van Brocklin type stuff. Bobby Lane. I think both those teams won titles in the 50s. Number 1 seed Lions hosting their first NFC Championship game ever in their third appearance in history against the number 2 seed Eagles. This game is all about just grit, defense, quarterback pressure. Eagles 52. Your team wins. Eagles topple Lions on a late field goal. Heartbreak in Motown. They had it, and they lose again. Will Dan Campbell make a dumb fourth down decision? Maybe. It is the Eagles. And we have Super Bowl 59. We have the Chiefs. And we have the Eagles in New Orleans. The place that made Paul Prudhomme famous and hated by Ace. I think that's where he's from, Paul Prudhomme. Remember Ace used to... Ace didn't like the fact that Paul Prudhomme had blackened seasoning that wasn't made with the right thing or something, so he went in the stores and he took a Sharpie and drew phallic symbols coming out of Prudhomme's mouth on all the bottles. Ace was all about integrity, and integrity includes drawing wieners on blackened sauce bottles. Super Bowl 59, or if you look at the Roman numerals, Super Bowl licks. Tootsie Roll will be a sponsor in this one. How many licks does it take? All right. Josh Allen, LIX, licks Gopher Nuts in the playoffs. Are we at an hour yet? We're almost at an hour. Super Bowl licks in New Orleans. Who's the halftime show? Is it Gary Puckett in the Union Gap? I don't know. Is it Shania Twain? Is it Herman's Hermits? All of these are good choices, by the way. Is it Starship featuring Mickey Thomas? He's from New Orleans. Pat's Domino's dead. Pat, I don't know. Who's the halftime show, guys? Who is it this year? Anyone good? Super Bowl licks. All right. I think the network this year is going to be, I don't know, NBC maybe. Forget. Mike Tirico and Collinsworth. Let's see, what score do I have for this game? Who wins this game? Let me look at my notes here. That's it. I got a close game here. All these games are close. You can't. We'll never see a Super Bowl again where there's like a 14-point favorite or whatever. So this time we're going to have the Chiefs versus the Eagles. It's the rematch of Super Bowl 57 from January of 2023. And this time, it is close all the way to the end. It's a higher scoring game than people think because they both have good defenses, but it's just how it goes. They just, in these games, sometimes they just go off, get the offense going. The vision came to me about the score of this. We have Super Bowl 59, and this final score is going to be, as I stand here in Rio, August 30th, 2024. The Super Bowl, I believe, is February 9th, right? I don't know. February 9th, 2025. The Philadelphia Eagles, 28. And the Kansas City Chiefs, 31. Add it together, boys. You get add the score together. What's the total there? That's right. Super Bowl licks. Super Bowl 59. Chiefs 31. Eagles 28. Do you really think I'd be dumb enough to pick someone? You really think after nailing the Super Bowl pick 2 years in a row here at Rio that I would do something as foolish as picking anyone else to win the Super Bowl? Why would I jump off the train? Jordan, coming over there soon. Why the hell would I jump off the train now? Mahomes is your MVP. He ties Joe Montana's. No, he ties. He breaks Joe Montana for Super Bowl MVPs with 4. He's still behind Tom Brady there, but his 4th Super Bowl title with Montana, Bradshaw, Brady. A very, very, very short list. Eagles lose another Super Bowl, their 4th Super Bowl loss, as opposed to their 1 win. The devastating night in the city of brotherly love. You're watching this on February the 10th, the day after, probably the 10th, you're watching this the day after the Super Bowl. You're looking back to the summer and you're saying to yourself, Peters did it again? I guarantee the Chiefs win a three-peat in Super Bowl 59, their 3rd Super Bowl in a row. I guarantee it. Last night they won again, and Peters does it again. The tears are flowing. Peter pick all the way wrong. Darth, Mr. Met, what's up now? What do you think about that, guys? It's time to fire up the pipe, right? Fire up that pipe. Yeah, that's right. What do you think, guys? Let's get in the rapids. You stupid naysayers. What do you think about that, huh? Yeah, what do you think? Oh, guys. Yeah, all right. Peters does it again. All right, guys. Appreciate you watching the annual picks for the NFL 2024. Again, it's guaranteed. I nailed it. It's gonna hurt. It is gonna hurt in February. It is gonna be devastating as Peters nails the Super Bowl winner for the 3rd consecutive season. Incredible. First team to three-peat. Congratulations, KB Toys. Congratulations, KC. It's been a joy to do this video for you guys. Oh yeah. It has been a hell of a time here at Rio. All right. And as we do every year, I think we got to do a little head dunk in the rapids. Yeah, I think we got to do that, guys. A little head dunk in the rapids. Oh, God. Wow. Oh, my God. Woo. Wow. All right, guys. Struggle my way back. enjoy the NFL season starting tomorrow night. Ravens, Chiefs on NBC as the Chiefs begin their defense of their back-to-back titles. They go for 3 in a row. And on February, as you're watching this the day after the Super Bowl, you're in tears because Peter's here on August the 30th, nailed the Super Bowl pick again. You're in severe pain, emotional pain. I'm not. I called it. Chiefs win. Fire up that pipe.